Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to Chronic Curiosity. The video on this one is a little messed up. It didn't get started until about 17 minutes in, so apologies, but if you make it through the first 17 minutes, the video does start rolling after that. Hope you enjoy. Doesn't matter. All right.
Check. God, dude, are these?
Those are different.
Check. Yeah, they're definitely different, dude. They're not as clear. Check.
No?
It's weird. Like, I can hear myself, but it's like...
So you're real punchy.
Yeah, I can... That's what I thought.
That's weird, because I have that turned up quite a bit.
I can swing that other mic over here if you want.
I don't think it's the mic. I think it's the headphones.
Oh, really? You know, flip-flop them
I
out?
think it's your hearing.
I've got very good hearing, dude.
Really?
I do, actually. It's the one thing... It's the one thing on my body that's actually fucking good. My health, my vision.
That's okay. That's not even.
Nothing else is good, bro. My hearing.
Yeah, I see. Because this sounds.
Check. That sounds way better, dude.
Does it?
Yeah.
I really like these headphones.
Is this the same
These
kind?
are these are the same kind. Yeah.
Oh, are they expensive?
No, they're
They're
not.
not bad.
They're
Cheap?
actually really cheap.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. They sound good.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think we're rolling.
You do the countdown, or?
We're gonna do it. Countdown to 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2021.
Here we go.
Chronic Curiosity.
Cheers to 2021, man.
Predictions? Because apparently everyone automatically thinks somehow 2021 is going to be better than 2020.
I don't know why they think that. I think it's a terrible thought to have. I've been predicting
Yeah, you have.
since what I would say at least
June?
June. Yeah, I was gonna say June. I've been telling you. Now everyone's bitching about 2020.
Bitcoin in 2021 is what you've been predicting here.
Yeah, so far.
So far, your prophecy is fairly correct.
Yeah, I'm 1 out of 2 right now. The other one hasn't. We'll see what 2021 holds. But so far, Bitcoin's been doing what it.
I don't know that I've ever more strongly rooted against you in anything, Fred.
Yeah, or myself, but I just don't see all the indicators seem to be pointing towards 2021 not being that fantastic.
You want to lay out your prediction?
Ooh, I don't even know if I have one. My prediction is it's going to be shit. No, I think the potential is there for it to be shit.
Yeah.
I am concerned about legislative issues,
To put it lightly.
to put it lightly. And I am concerned about people in their response to the world around them.
Yes. I feel like that goes back to common sense, accountability, and responsibility.
Yeah, it does. I will say though, I think going back to our conversation with Mr. Dan Leach, who was fantastic last week, but the language, the conversations that we're having, the words that we're using, and I don't mean that as in,
do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
yeah, because people think they understand. And I'm even willing to say that even if it's an idea or a thought that I don't subscribe to, I'm weary now. And maybe that's part of the change. Maybe that's part of this change in history and, and progress moving forward is understanding our fellow humans and what they mean by what they're saying. But I think there's a lot of misconceptions going on that someone says, hey, well, this is what I think and this is what I think, and they're using different words. And maybe they believe the same thing, maybe they don't. But I think the root problem is that we don't understand the words that are coming out of our own mouths sometimes and how other people perceive them.
I could probably agree with that. I think that kind of what I text you before we got here, and we've said this quote several times about the problem with communication being the illusion that it actually happened and or occurred.
Yeah.
And I think you breaking down what you said there, how does that happen? I think you've got some words that maybe the words mean something to someone else that they don't mean to the person saying them or interpreting them. Mm-hmm. And instead of asking the simple question of why, what does that mean, or why or what?
Or what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What are your intentions, good sir?
Ooh, I feel like this is going right into a Facebook post that you're
Oh,
talking
geez,
about.
you're gonna rip that on me right away. Oh man,
You used the keyword intentions.
intentions. Yeah. Well, I think there's so many intentions.
I guess you won't know them though unless you ask those questions,
Yeah,
right?
and I think
And
that
that's why we do what we do here.
yeah, and I've found myself being contrary to the things that I tell myself and the things that I say on this microphone.
A contrarian,
Yeah,
as Joe
to
Rogan
myself,
would say.
to myself, and I've used that to kind of help guide, my own actions. I think I'm trying to remember. I said it the other day. Oh, I said it on the Dan Leach podcast where I said, you know what, my buddy, the guy I was talking to, he was like, "What's your deal?" Because I was in a really good mood, and I was like, you know what, why not? Because that's what people, bitch about this, you bitch about that. Well, if you can't change it, why are you bitching about it? Because there's some things in life you just can't change everything.
Sure.
We like to think that we can control our environment and, control our future. And to an extent, we can.
Yeah, yeah. The part that you can control, if you can't actually change it, would be just shutting up.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the point is,
No,
if you can't actually do something about the thing that's going on, why dwell on it?
Yeah, or shut up and figure out how to change it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Stop
or,
bitching
or
about
at
it.
least head in a direction where there's a modicum of change.
Right. Yeah. Do something beneficial with it, but and maybe it's just being home and not working around the holidays as much. And I found myself on the social medias more often.
Like the Walmarts.
Yeah, I have it. I realize why people find that funny when they don't really understand what I'm saying. At least to me in my own perfect example. I say that as a joke because obviously Walmart is a store. It's not plural, but I like to pluralize things because I find it funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it. I don't even know the proper word for it. What I think about it in my head, but I just find it funny because it kind of like adds a bit of like ridiculousness to it.
Little humorous flavor.
Yeah, for no reason other than I just find it funny.
Well,
but
it sounds like Squirrely Dan from Letterkenny. So.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, that's what I
started watching after
yeah.
the Doing podcast. I started watching, and what I've seen the first episode of Letterkenny, which is by far like some of the most like hilarious, like comedic timing and cadencing and like jokes that like you have to pay attention.
Yeah,
like to
wordplay, double entendres.
Yeah, every single word they say, like it seems like just a bunch of ridiculous.
Wrapped in a blanket of irreverency.
Yeah, which I love irreverency. We've talked about that. I if you can't laugh, what can you laugh at? But yeah, I realized I watched probably like 6 or 7 episodes, and I was like, oh. I'm doing was it Squirrely Dan?
Yeah.
I'm doing the Squirrely Dan thing.
He pluralizes everything.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it, but now like I'm like, yeah, that shit's funny. Like he's funny. Like all the things he says. And then when the sister goes, he'll be like, and the brother's like, hey, we need to tone it down there about 10-15% there, Dad. He's like, heard ya.
Katie and Wayne.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
who's your favorite character on that show? I know you haven't gotten into it, so it may change.
I haven't, but I don't know if I have I think if I had to choose, it would be that dude with the always wears the flannel tucked in shirts. I don't know what's it.
It's Wayne.
Wayne.
Yeah, Jared Kiesel, I think is his name.
Yeah, so he's probably my favorite because the things he says, like there's no emotion behind it, but like the words that he's saying, like you have to listen to exactly what he says to like understand like, oh, okay, he's getting pissed off, or oh, he's trying to be funny. And to be able to do that without
that's pretty talented.
Yeah, to like without making the emotion is really I just that, and Squirrely Dan's pretty funny. But he's a character that you get a shtick.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like there's a shtick there. Like, and I
Yeah.
get it, so I can, and the same thing like with the sister. Okay. hot hillbilly. I don't know if they're called hillbillies in Canada, whatever they are.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like that quote unquote, like good looking trashy girl, which she has some funny lines, but she's also clever but she's really nice. But then she's still hanging out with those hockey, dipping douchebags. Like, and they're funny in their own right.
Yeah.
And then the other guy who's
Jonesy and Riley.
yeah, the other guy who's the like their best friend. That's he's just kind of like the dopey, like
Dairy.
dumb kid.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who my least favorite character is though, for sure, is the emo dudes.
Oh yeah, they're weird, man. They grow on you a little bit. Stuart and Rawls.
Yeah, so they've grown on me a little bit, but I just don't like their not that, and it's not the characters they're playing. Like I don't, that type of person doesn't bother me, but just their characters are maybe a little too over the top.
So I felt the exact same way, and you start watching it, and there's an element that like.
Does it fill in?
It's
right later down the road?
Yeah, it doesn't fit so much that at some point it actually starts to fit, if that makes sense.
Okay, I can see that because, like I said, I'm only like 6. I just got done with the fart book. Speaking of, and that was the dumbest episode so far.
I watched that one time and I haven't rewatched it.
Yeah, I would never.
It's all right.
It's
some days you blast off and some days you just smoke.
Yeah, exactly. Old Sturgill there. That was a perfect analogy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to that episode and I actually had to watch that in 2 different settings because it was like, this is dumb. But I feel like it's one of those shows you have to watch every one because they're going to keep on playing off of jokes that.
Oh, you don't. They do play off some jokes, but there's new stuff as well. So you got to watch the Canada Goose episode. If you haven't seen that one, it's awesome.
The which season is that?
It's like season 3 or 4.
Okay, I was gonna say because the new season just came out. I think too. That was like what's like season 6 or 7? 9. Jesus.
Yeah.
It'll take me a couple years.
It probably won't. So it probably won't.
They're short episodes, but when I can watch one, like I usually like watch like 4.
Bro,
I can watch like 3 or 4 in a row. But
get yourself a good glass of bourbon, just fire up a joint, and you'll make it through about 3 seasons.
I'd be like, "What? It's Tuesday already? Mm-hmm, oh shit! It was a good time." Yeah, yeah, it's a good show though. It doesn't face value. It's not. It's worth much more than it is at face value. It's one of those things where you don't judge a book by its cover, because if you can really sit there and like listen to it and listen to all the little jokes and kind of, put all those pieces together.
You ever experience something where you hear something and it's just never the same after that? The reason I say that, and I'll qualify that.
Yeah, the Walmarts. Now I thought I was just being funny, but now I'm not. I'm squirrely Dan in it. And it's kind of sad.
So you're the Lonely Island boys, right?
Oh yeah, I'm on a boat.
Yeah, there you go. So Sandberg and the dude with the curly hair. I feel bad. I don't know his name, but he's funny.
I don't.
So they did an album, and it was the Bash Brothers.
Oh boy.
It was Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire.
Jose Canseco. That's something that I can never hear after watching the Turtles.
Okay.
Was it the very first Turtles where he's like, Jose Canseco, tell me you didn't pay money for this. Stuck with me. Sounds like 6. There you go.
Yeah, but there's a line in this song is called Oakland Nights, and they're so, how ridiculous they are. I mean, they do the dick in the box and the jizz in your pants song.
Right.
And all that stuff.
It's very Step Brothers-esque.
Yeah.
Except before Step Brothers.
And one of the lines is they're like, "Don't judge a book," and he doesn't finish the idiom, and the women he's with are like, "By its cover." It's some of the guys who work with like Austin and those guys, we would always do that. We'd be like, "Don't judge a book by its cover."
Yeah. Well, because I feel like some of those guys would be the ones that like, it's like a
Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints. Yeah. I was literally just about to say that. People in glass houses sink ships. Yeah, like what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
good stuff.
It is a fantastic show, though.
Yeah.
It's the cadence, too. If the cadence wasn't there, it still wouldn't be the same. But they're good.
The puns are second to none.
Oh, yeah.
Like I mean, they're over the top and they're ridiculous and cheeky, but they're clever. So
yeah, but you can tell like it's kind of like that
slapstick.
Yeah, but it's better than slapstick because it's like realistic slapstick. Like they're like if you had those people, if those people were real, and they were sitting there doing those things, it would be exactly like that. And it would be the funniest people, like just sitting around with your buddies. Like, cause I got two buddies, that I used to work with, that used to say stuff like that all day long, every day. Be working out and, working out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, and you're hard working, and then you'd say something stupid or you'd say something, and it's just constantly, it's constant irreverence and just jokes all the time. That's just how you got through. There's still a handful of things that years and years later, I'll probably get people angry at this, but like even my daughter now will say, sucks to suck.
I've heard you say that
yeah,
before.
like it's just,
Yeah, I've
and
heard
like
you
your
say
first
that
thing you're like,
before.
what's that mean? It's like, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious with me. It's like, it sucks to suck. Like when somebody does something stupid and it sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah. Like, and I remember in all in the humor and the irreverence, like the one guy, he was sick for like, it was like 2 months. It seemed like he was always coughing and
Yeah, bro, that's called AIDS.
yeah. Well, that's what he
That's called an ELISA test.
well, he would,
Stat.
they would call it, they'd be like, oh man, got the brown kitties. That's what, brown kitties.
Yeah.
Like said they make jokes like that, but it was,
Giving birth to sea otters.
yeah. But the one time I was like, man, and I was joking around with him, and obviously you have to, put it in the sphere of comedy. Where I was like, maybe you should see an oncologist. He's like, you mean a gynecologist? Because he thought I was calling him a pussy. Yeah. And I was like, no, an oncologist. And he's like, well, I don't even know what that means, man. He looks it up. He goes, oh, goddamn. He's like,
dark fast.
He goes, that's not even funny, man. But he's laughing, like,
because he had
he's
to
like,
look it up.
Yeah, because he looked it up. He's like, well, goddamn it, man, that's not even funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was, when you're able to me, I think that's what's got me through a lot, is having a little bit of irreverence. Everyone that's taking something so seriously all the time is just, life's too short.
Yeah.
To take it all seriously.
Dude, I'm not gonna make it through this episode. I gotta piss again.
You're already.
I know. So
Man.
I think I just.
All right, we're back, and with video now. It's a good thing. It's a good thing you did have to go to the bathroom.
There we go.
Because
figured it out.
Once again, when you don't have a Jamie like Joe Rogan does,
Yeah.
sometimes you screw it up when you do it all yourself. What are you gonna do though?
If the Bitcoin keeps going, maybe we can afford it, Jamie.
Oh man, something. 2021 Bitcoin, we're doing it. First one. I think this is just going to be a. Obviously, we've already gotten into Letterkenny, so whatever. Here we go. 2021. Here it
Maximum
comes.
debauchery.
Yes.
Maximum irreverency.
Why not? Why not? But you did mention I skirted the issue.
I saw that, but I was going to come back to it. So it didn't
I figured
matter.
you would, so I'll just. So the Facebook thing,
Facebook.
the fart puck thing. That's basically what it is.
Bro, I can't.
It's all just people.
Yeah,
shitting.
I can't not comment on this. You've got like, I don't think it's attached, but it's like a 2-inch hair on the end of your chin, and all I can think of is not by the hair on my chin right now.
Green Joe.
Yeah, you got rid of it. You're good.
That's my wife for you.
Ooh,
Dude,
I'm not gonna ask about that.
Dude, I'll pull clumps of hair out of my butt crack, on my armpits, like wherever. It's everywhere.
And I'm gonna pull my card of avoiding that conversation.
Yeah, probably shouldn't.
Moving along.
Yeah, Facebook, a much better conversation.
Not really.
No, but there was. So there was I had a moment. I don't get on Facebook often. We discuss this, but I occasionally get into a Facebook feud.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. So one of my Facebook friends,
One of our mutual friends.
one of our mutual friends, posted a comment about I didn't watch it. I stopped watching
Ohio State,
football.
Clemson?
Yeah, Ohio State Clemson football game, which was the night of New Year's Day. All right, so this is Saturday right now. We're recording this, but so they're on the first, and this player. Did you see the video?
I did not see
You
the
see?
video.
You want to see it? I feel like we have to. I feel like you have to.
Watch. I don't know enough about football, I don't think, to make that judgment call, but at least I can kind of.
So that way you can understand this.
Sure.
So, I don't even know the guy's name, but I will. Versus Ohio State.
It's a sweet shirt, by the way, Fred.
Thank you. Yeah, my Rogue Solutions, Rogue Tree Solutions Tropic Thunder shirt.
Tropic Thunder, bro.
Yeah. We'll see if this is it here.
Oh, God, I feel like I have to bite my tongue because of Cassie right now. I want to quote a line from it so bad.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. Well, it's probably not. Oh, this isn't.
You never go, fool.
Yeah. That movie, I've never watched it, but just from everything I've seen from it, that movie is just full of irreverence.
Oh, it's
That's
awesome.
All it is.
It's very underrated, in my opinion. I think the best part is, I think his name's Les Grossman. It's Tom Cruise plays him. I don't even know if you knew Tom Cruise was in that movie. He's in like a fat suit and he has these huge hands.
Yeah. I knew Tom Cruise is in there, and Robert Downey Jr. with the blackface, which is obviously extremely irreverent, which, is what it is. But yeah, I think that was one of those movies where it just looks so ridiculous. Where I was like, I don't feel like watching this. Like, but maybe I should now.
I mean, did you like Super Troopers though?
I did. I love Super Troopers.
Yeah.
The comedy in that too is funny because it comes off. It's super ridiculous, but the comedy.
Drop that. 3rd and 13. Fields does have time, and now takes off, makes a cut, hits a hard hit by Skalski, who knocks him down 2 yards short, and Fields is still down.
He took that shot right in the ribs on the right side of his. Right in between it looks like the rib cage and maybe the back part of his ribs. Again, a big quarterback that can do a lot of damage to a lot of teams when he runs, but 47,
So he lowered down there to tackle that guy. I'm not sure what's going on now. It's been ridiculous.
Physical tackler.
After further review, number 47.
Why is it doing this? It's being slow. No,
Stop tempting me.
Yeah,
was confirmed for targeting. The penalty would be half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down. Number 47 is disqualified.
So Skalski is out. That is a huge blow, just as it was last year for Ohio State. The game-changing disqualification of Wade got Lawrence going.
Yeah.
Fields seems to be okay.
Number 47 was confirmed for targeting. Penalty would be half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down. Number 47 is disqualified.
So Skull
quarterback that can do a lot of damage to a lot of teams when he runs.
For all the different angles.
God, are we even allowed to play this, or is this video going to get pulled immediately?
No, the audio of this should be fine because it's not copyrighted audio, and I'm not playing the video off of there. But why is this being so
runs? But 47, a physical tackle.
I'll see if I can find the video. But so this player was ejected for targeting, and like I said, I don't follow football nearly as much as I used to, just because I played football for tackle, full contact football for 8 years, and I loved it. It was. I mean, when I was a younger kid, it was my favorite thing to do. I just loved it. I remember in middle school when I started, I stopped other sports that I was playing because I never even played flag football because I was like, no, why am I doing that? That seems silly. But as soon as I was old enough to play full contact football, I was like, yeah, never really know how to play. And I remember the coaches, our first day, they went around to like, why are you here? Why do you want to play? And, I want to score touchdowns, or I want to, because Deion Sanders is awesome. Which Deion Sanders is awesome. But I literally said, I just want to hit people. Like just that full contact, just that run around, because I did it in my backyard. As we'd get home from school and our buddies would run around and we'd play backyard football and just tackle people. But when I got out, and I still enjoyed watching football because it was a big part of kind of who I was around that time frame. But after a while, I stopped watching all professional. And then I was like, I watched college football for a while because it seemed like college football, like those guys, they were there because they wanted to be there and they were there to win and they were there to play the game. And that's all they wanted to do. They just wanted to play the game and they wanted to win. You know, because back in the early 2000s, like a lot of NFL players, they wanted to be a star. They wanted to make the money. They wanted their TV clip. You know, they wanted their clip on ESPN. So you see these guys, they go out and they're diving with their shoulders and they just want that big hit. So like, I was like, man, like this is gross. Like, I don't even want to watch this. Like, they're not even playing football anymore. Like, they're not even attempting when they tackle a player. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. So that's why I got into this argument on Facebook, because it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Professional, you know, NFL guys, there's so many times where they're just diving. They're just throwing their bodies at the ball runner. And it's like they're not even attempting to tackle him by wrapping their arms around him and actually tackling him. They just want that big hit. So I stopped watching it. And then eventually it was like, I don't have time to watch college football either. Like, this is silly. So when I watched this, and this instantly turned into this giant fiasco that it's still going on. Obviously today people are all up in arms about it. But this player got ejected for targeting because he hit the quarterback with the crown of his helmet. So they said like he intentionally like speared the quarterback with the top of his helmet because you're not allowed to tackle a player with your head down, you know, leading with your helmet because it causes a ton of injuries. And I totally agree. It's really dangerous. But this, when I watched when I saw the controversy going on Facebook, I instantly went to find the video because I said, all right, what does this look like?
Kind of like you should with anything.
That was my first thought was, what does this look like? Because that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Trying to collect facts.
Right. So, you know, so the person that commented on this and it turned into a giant thing. And from what I know, he took his post down completely after this because it blew up. You know, he said the fact that the Clemson kid just got ejected is proof that the targeting rule being an immediate ejection is garbage. And this person, you know, even said, I'm a Buckeye fan, but it's bad for football.
True.
You know, flag him at worst, you know, but
let him keep playing.
Let him keep playing. You know, it's absolute garbage and it kills the spirit of the game, which I fully agree with. You know, and you know, if he did it on purpose, you know, if he went and just straight headbutted somebody, you know, when the play wasn't going on, that's different. Yeah. You know, now you're talking about intention and what are you trying to do? But if you watch that video, you know, did he lead with his head? Yeah, it could be semi-argued, but he did drop his head, which he's not supposed to do. But, you know, even in this, you know, in this picture right here, you can see, look, his arms, he goes to wrap him up. Like and in the video, you see his arms come forward.
He made an effort.
He was going at him. And he, like, if you look at that picture right there, so this is right as, what's his name? Justin Fields was starting the spin. If he didn't finish his spin, or if he were half a second earlier, he would have hit him with his shoulder, wrapped his arms, tackled him.
End of story.
End of story. But the fact that he spun and his helmet went into his back, they said that he was targeting, leading with his head, ejected the kid. And I was like, well, that's not targeting at all. He just wrong time, wrong place. Should you have had your head up? Yeah. If nothing else, for your own safety, because, you know, hitting somebody in the top of your head with that much force, that's a bad idea. You know, that's where spinal fractures and concussions and all those things come into play. But this person replied to this story and said he went head down into his ribs. It was vicious and dangerous for both players. And that's when I was like, like, you're calling this guy vicious? Like he intended to do this. Like vicious, to me, vicious is, and this goes back to our conversations with Dan Leach, the words that we use. Was he really being vicious? Like, was that his intent to hurt this person, to put his head into him? So I was like, to me, I'm like, anybody that's played that game, who's tackled, who's been in that position before, would look at that and go, dude was just trying to tackle him. End of story. Like, that's all it is. There's no malintent there. Dude was just trying to tackle him. End of story. So I ended up, there was a lot of conversation that went back and forth, but basically, and this is why it's a conversation, because I was not fuming, but I was releasing social anxiety pressure towards you. But it was like, I made a comment. I replied to that person and said, I've played football for many years of my life. I watched it for even more. Obviously, when you play, years and years of football, you watch even more of it than you're actually playing and analyzing all that video and everything else. And I said, like, to say that this person intentionally did this and to throw the dude out of the game is ridiculous. Like, so I said, and apparently this person is a trainer for a football team.
Okay.
And was making a very argument about, so that was the first thing they said was vicious and dangerous, which dangerous, I agree with. That is dangerous. But vicious, I think,
implies intent.
And that was, most of the argument. She got attacked by a lot of people saying, like, this is ridiculous, blah, blah, whatever. But I said, like, what's your experience in playing high intensity contact sports? Because that, to me, that there's a lot that goes into that, because if I don't understand what this player is going through at that point in time, then I can't even begin to pretend like I know what their intentions are. If I hadn't been in their position before.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe argument to make. Like, you can't begin to assume someone's intentions if you've not been in their position before. And even then, well,
I don't know how you could assume anyone's intentions at all.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe there's a way to do that, but I think, and I get what you're saying, that if you haven't, even more so, the inability to assume someone's intentions.
Yes, right.
Or
but obviously, like,
not assume, but
all right. Well, even going back to this, another football story to make it, try to compare apples to apples. When what's his name ripped Rudolph's helmet off, the Steelers quarterback last year from the Browns.
Roethlisberger.
No, because Roethlisberger was hurt. Rudolph was their replacement quarterback, and the
was that
dude
Myles Garrett.
Yes, I think that was who it was. I'm gonna pretend like it was Myles Garrett. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Myles.
Yeah, we're gonna use.
We'll
his
send
name.
a care package to Graven Way.
Yeah, but he ripped Rudolph's helmet off, and then swung it at him and hit him in the head with it. I think anybody looking at that can go, okay, well, I've been in the position where I have a big, heavy object in my hand. And if I were to swing it at somebody's head while we're having a disagreement, I could venture to assume that my intention is to hit them with this object in my hand. Right? You know what I mean? So but to say that this Clemson kid's intention was to spear, Justin Fields with his helmet and hurt him and be vicious. Come on. So I asked, like, well, what's your experience playing high contact sports? Because it's a split second,
True.
It happens within not even a tenth of a second. This all happened and took place with highly athletic, players moving at very high speeds. And they replied back, and I don't remember exactly what it was, because like I said, it's been taken down, but it was, they replied back saying, and there's a couple exchanges in between there. But then at one point, the final comment was, well, if your argument is to ask how much experience I have playing high contact sports because I'm a female, it was, I was waiting for somebody to pull this card or something like that. It was,
Yeah.
I'm not verbatim. So, but it was, she did say, I was waiting for somebody to say something like this. And if you ask this question because I'm a female, then, your problem is not with this at all. It's, basically like I have deeper rooted issues in that. And it hit me. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like,
It smells like a red herring is what it smells
yeah,
like.
like I'm getting gaslighted. I don't know if that's right. that's not the right one.
Bro,
That's 2020, right?
There's a list
Gaslight,
of 2021.
nuance,
Yeah.
unprecedented. This is
20
unprecedented.
Words in 2021 that cannot be used, and that is at the top of the list.
Yeah, but I said, whoa. I said, and I don't think she ever saw my comment back to her because I think the post was taken down. Like as I was making the comment back later, the next morning, I said, my questioning of your experience had nothing to do with you being a female. Like there are plenty of females that play high intensity contact sports. I said, my intention was questioning your experience and judgment on this person, not to make this argument something that it's not.
Sure.
And it just blew me away. I don't even know how to say it even in a proper sense to not make somebody pissed off. But like, just because I'm a fucking dude and I'm saying, hey, how much experience do you have in this? And because you're a girl, you can automatically just say, oh, what, you're just being misogynistic or sexist or whatever it is. Like, no, like what? Have you ever seen a fucking women's rugby match? I don't want
or roller derby.
Or like
Shit's scary.
UFC. Like, I don't want no part of them. Like, there's a lot of women out there that could whoop my ass. I'm not saying that there's not, like, so let's stop. To me, it was just like, oh, was that just your go-to? Just because, like, what sense does that have to make anything to your argument? Like, I just blew me away. Like, hell, I'll even say soccer. Soccer is a contact sport. I've seen some of those people out there playing soccer and some of the hits they take. It's not, maybe designed to be a contact sport like football is, American football or rugby. But I was just really saddened by like, can we just stop with the signaling? I'm fucking tired of it.
I feel like
2021, everything's going to be better.
I feel like that's way, way deeper than just face value conversation. And it's like you said, someone pulled, the misogynistic card right there where same sense. Someone's like, well, you're racist.
Yeah.
You're like, well, no, hold on. How about instead of telling me what I am, maybe ask a few questions, which is going back to our original conversation.
Right.
If you have some doubt, or even if you don't have doubt, like maybe have a little bit of doubt instead of just casting judgment, because I feel like we got in this predicament that we're in now because everyone always, I already know what's going on. I know everything at this point, or I have my mind made up.
I know your type. I know your
how. So
right.
so yeah, let's sweep us into another fallacy, just a sweeping generalization.
Right.
Going from red herring to sweeping generalizations.
Right.
Fantastic. When's that hominem knocking at the door?
Yeah.
Are you there yet?
Yeah. By accusing me of that, you are taking part in doing that exact thing. Just because I am like you said, the race card, the sex card, whatever it is, by accusing me of being what you're accusing me of, you are therefore being what you are accusing me of.
Dude, I want to say something so bad right now, but I know that it's going to get misconstrued the wrong way, which is crazy that I even have to say that, man.
I mean, we can take the time. If you really feel like, again,
man.
Holy moly.
I don't know what's going on with me, man. I think I took some diuretics or something.
Jeez. All right. Jeez. All right. Potty break number 2. 20 minutes in. Done. Well, no, we're actually almost 40 minutes in because I forgot we didn't record the first 20 minutes, or at least the audio or the video. I've been, been on a rough slide.
Another cube?
Yeah, actually, here. Thank you. So yeah, that was my Facebook debacle, and we can leave it, but it's just so everybody keeps on, I guess to me, it kind of goes back to this whole thing of like, oh, we need to understand each other and we need to accept each other and we need to do these things and be nice and all that. But then it turns around into like calling people out and just like destroying, I mean, this is being exaggerated, but like destroying lives and attacking people for not being accepting to people. And it's such an it's almost become like an oxymoron type of deal where it just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. And I don't know what to do with it.
I think we should just quote Letterkenny the whole time. So I've got some quotes for that. Everybody thinks you're a fucking expert.
Yeah. You better watch what you're saying, and I have to come over there and have a discussion with you or whatever it was. I love that. Like, it's so subtle. Like, I read the first time he's like, you better watch your mouth or I might have to come over and have a talk. Yo, that's what it is. You better watch your mouth or I might have to come over and give you a talking to. I don't know.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think those feelings or those emotions or that judgment or whatever you want to call it, dude, coin your phrase, if you will, do you think those always existed and social media gave that a platform? Or do you think it's a combination of some of those underlying tones existed and now there is a platform? And so that change in society plus having the platform has elicited some of these responses.
I do. I think it's a little bit of both, but I absolutely would say that social media and the courage and I always have problems with this word, anonymity. Anonymity, that's a mouthful. But I think, even if your name's on it, there's still, a little bit of that. You feel a little bit anonymous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think,
so you're saying
I think that perpetuates
if
it for sure.
If this conversation was in person,
it would be an entirely different conversation.
I got you.
And I try, and I do fail sometimes. I will be the first one to admit my mistakes. Most of the time, 60% of the time, all the time. Yeah. But when I have interactions with people on social media, and I know it is most of the time it's frivolous, but I attempt to respond in the exact same way as if I were having a face-to-face conversation. And it's hard because typing out all you can't articulate all of your thoughts and everything.
True.
But I try to take that same position and not get all crazy. But usually when I get fired up enough to have a Facebook argument, that means I'm pretty fired up. But what I try to do is, and I don't succeed all the time, is to be able to wake up the next day and still feel 100% what I said, every single word.
Just the conviction still there.
Yeah, in everything. So, but that's hard to do. You know what I mean?
Something I can't even stop. Like something about a Facebook argument.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievably ridiculous. I feel like you're just looking in the mirror and just arguing with yourself, or
in a sense, maybe it is. Maybe it's practice.
maybe
Maybe it's practice using my words.
So it's for debate club.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be but that's why I don't do it very often, because
Yeah,
I do
true.
realize how ridiculous it is. But maybe if we all stopped thinking it was ridiculous, then I think a lot of our problems perpetuate from that, because everybody has this platform to spew whatever fucking nonsense they want, myself included.
Unless you're Republican and then you get shut down. But
Well,
please proceed.
Yeah, unless you're a high profile enough to get some attention that somebody doesn't like what you're saying, which is scary. And I don't even talk about that too. That's a big old rabbit hole.
I don't even know that you have to be that high profile to get shut down.
No, you just have to fit the algorithm. You just have to fit
Yeah, hold on. Where are your funnier quotations?
Yeah, the algorithm. Yeah. But I think it's a big piece of it is people feel emboldened, and it goes back to, and I think I shared this. I think I sent it to my wife a week or so ago, where I think it was Tyson. He said something about, he was talking about people on social media and people in general, about like, y'all have, basically he was saying, everybody on social media, you don't have the fear of getting punched in the face when you say something shitty to somebody.
Dude, that's super weird you said that. I was literally thinking, in my mind, I just glanced up at your... It
was such a good meme.
I glanced up at your Tyson book, and I was like, what if in order to say something...
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, different Tyson.
Yeah, different Tyson altogether. I saw the Tyson up there. But what... I was thinking in my mind, what if in order to say something... There was like, you had to sign a waiver that basically said before you can say this, you have to agree.
Sign off to this.
Yeah, agree to a possible fisticuff.
That would be fun. Yeah, I mean, but I think that's what social media has done for people is it has kind of negated the...
A Donnybrook, by the way.
Yeah, it's negated the results from what you're going to say, because it's... all you have to do is just shut your phone off or delete your account. No big deal.
Do you think it's just social media? That's everything now. Like, unless you lean one way, are there really consequences for the words that you say at this point? Think about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think, but I'm saying, I think that social media has empowered people. And here it is. I found it. The quote by Mike Tyson: "Social media made y'all way too comfortable disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it." I was like, God damn it. Oh, Mikey, he's fucked up in a lot of times in his life.
Knocks at your door.
Yeah. Boom. Here it is. Yeah. Like I say, you know what? And I think that's once again, goes back to the Dan conversation that we just had. Mike Tyson is a flawed human being.
True.
We all are. But that's some words of wisdom right there that I completely agree with that. And to say that you can take somebody that, and I'm trying to figure this out too. It kind of goes back to the conversation we had of, how do we redeem ourselves as people if we do something wrong, and not even our image, but like ourselves. People are always doing wrong and right things. So just because somebody has done something wrong in their life doesn't negate the right things that they say, or the right things that they do, or the good things that they do and say. Just because that one person, it doesn't mean they're completely redeemed. I'm not talking, hey, if Ted Bundy's like I found Jesus and I'm all healed now. He healed. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. But somebody that has done, terrible things can still say something that is right.
I guess that doesn't negate the fact that they still did terrible things.
Exactly.
So each can exist in their own duality, if you will.
Yes.
This goes back to the Dan conversation,
right.
By the way.
Yeah. And I think we've lost that. So because of social media.
Why do you think so many conversations or so much controversy exists from not recognizing this entity from this entity from this entity, where all of them are combined somehow in some weird way that, if someone says something or someone does something, that is the definition of that person. Doesn't matter what else they did. That's it. That defines them. And that goes back to the inability to redeem someone, because once you do those things, even if you apologize for them, there's no way to pick yourself up and redefine yourself. There's no way to go, hey, yeah, that person has changed, or that person admitted that they were wrong. Okay, cool. Let's press ahead. Nope, canceled, doxed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is, and I don't understand why we. I don't know. Maybe it's that self-importance of people thinking that oh, this person did this or that or whatever, and I'm better than them, and that makes them feel good. Maybe so many people, and here we go. I can say this because I have experience in this. Maybe people feel so terrible about themselves that they are constantly looking for the terribleness in others, so that as soon as that moment happens, they can go, see, I'm better than that person. Piece of shit. I'm better than them. Fuck that guy. Fuck her. Like, she's a piece of shit. I'm better than them. So that means that I'm worth more. My words are worth more. What I think and my values are worth more because they did something crappy once. But come on, let's be real with ourselves.
Wouldn't the more intelligent thing be to?
We're not talking about intelligence, Tony. We're talking about human nature.
Shit, I thought we were in 2021. My bad.
Sorry.
No, for me, man, it goes back to learning. It goes back to, man, there's always something to learn. I feel like if you dig deep enough, and if that person made a mistake, like, where did they go wrong? Maybe I don't want to repeat that mistake. I think that's what's that quote about? What is it? Smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from others' mistakes before they make them.
Right. That's a good one. I don't know exactly what that one is, but I like that. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's hard to do. Because
anything worthwhile is hard to do, right?
No, it is for sure. But I mean it as in a not even difficult, not even hard to do.
You mean as a change as a society?
Well, yeah, that for sure. But I mean, even as an individual, is you can recognize something and not realize its difficulty level before you do it. Even if you.
Here's a litmus. Is it worthwhile? But it's going to be fucking hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
To simplify it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what I mean by it's kind of like anything you do in life. There's we've talked about this before too. There's nothing to me. There's nothing that beats experience. You can be wise and you can heed the advice of others, but until you've gone through it, there's nothing because it's that self-realized and experienced knowledge that just comes along with doing something that you just.
What about the experience of not doing something because someone else already did it and it ruined their life?
Well, yeah, no, for sure. I get that.
I mean, does that still
But
experience?
I think I think there's. Yeah. I mean, there's big things that you can avoid, I think. But but when it comes to more simple things,
give me an example.
Like we'll go back to the Facebook argument just because we use that example. We've talked about it. That Facebook argument. You could tell me that person's not. I mean, we've had this discussion before too with Facebook arguments that I've gotten into. That person's not going to listen to you. They're not going to change their mind. And I can go, yeah, I know, but I got to try. I got to do it. When you have that personal conviction of, I got to do it. I think maybe I can say just the right word. Maybe I won't change their mind, but maybe I'll make them go, okay, tell me more. Most of the time that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? But until you do it and you see that happen and you can put all of your goodness and, you can try to formulate all your words properly to really get them to understand what you're saying. And then they just go, they send you some kind of stupid ass fucking meme back as a response, or and they go completely off onto some different topic. You go, oh, well, that was a waste of my time. But it's much harder to do that in person. So maybe it's just practice. Maybe just doing, you know what I mean? But there's people that do that on a day-to-day basis that continue to make those mistakes. And maybe you have to have a couple of those Facebook arguments where you realize well, that was stupid. I got stressed out. They were pissed off. Nothing ever happened out of it. And here I am a day later talking about it on a stupid fucking podcast and it doesn't make any difference. But maybe it did, because now you're considering the processes that led up to that, the conversation, how you handled yourself. Because there's times where I've had those arguments where I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a learning experience in itself. The whole, reciprocal thing that by doing something that was unwise, you gained wisdom through it.
Yeah, I wish we could have that person on the show to
Me too.
to like 100% ask them if that's what they meant, or if that was the problem with that communication, that we didn't understand what they were trying to say.
I think that's give
them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I would love to talk to that. But I don't even know who that person was. I couldn't even, think of her name off the top of my head. But you just lose something when you're looking at a screen trying to talk to somebody.
Sure.
And how many times have we said that?
Ooh, that's not promising for me, since I do Zoom calls with patients all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but this is through
joking.
text. You know what I
joking.
mean? Yeah, like we want to talk about all of the nuances of communication.
Well, you better watch out. There's going to be like a laser target on your head from your wife.
Yeah.
He said nuance.
Yeah. But and maybe that's all. Maybe that's what this is all about. Is just trying to get people just to have that uncomfortable conversation, to maybe realize after it's done, it wasn't that uncomfortable at all.
I mean, I think that's where the growth occurs, through actions or conversations that are uncomfortable.
And the more uncomfortable you continue to, more uncomfortable situations you continue to put yourself in, the less uncomfortable they become, and the more productive they can become, I think.
Usually, hopefully.
Oh, I'm not touching that one.
Nope. Now we're typical.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. So, what's your New Year's resolution, Tony?
Oh, really? You think I have New Year's resolutions?
Nope. I don't.
No, man, I don't have resolutions. If I'm not already doing it, like, it's not going to get done. So I don't need some day to go, hey,
Today's the day.
I'm going to redefine myself. Like, if I'm not already doing it, it's not going to get done. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I'm like, I think I'm going to explore this, or I'm going to try and do this, or this is the direction I want to head. But, it's not a date on the year that makes me go, this is what I'm going to do. Like, it's a continual growing process where I just want to be a better version of myself every single day. And that's kind of what defines me. Like, am I doing something on a daily basis that challenges me? Do I enjoy the things I'm doing? If I don't, am I going to complain about them? Nope. I'm going to shut my mouth, and I'm going to figure out how to change them and head in that direction.
So you don't have to bitch about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's fine with bitching. Like, I'm not going to judge anyone for that.
Oh, no, because I bitch all the time too.
Yeah,
but at least as long as you're doing something about the bitching.
For me, that's time spent or energy expended that could have been directed where I want to go or what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's not to downplay anyone. Like, some people need to get from A to C, they need to talk about B. It's not an automatic jump from A to C. Like, there's a growth process in that B, and I recognize that, and I get that. For me, I'm just kind of like, that's energy that I don't want to spend doing that. I'd rather just figure out how to get there. And I'm not saying that's every single time. It's not 100% of the time. It's not 60% of the time all the time. But for me, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even going to entertain that thought. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm not going to think those thoughts. I'm just going to try and figure out how to get there, or I'm going to try and surround myself with people that are going to help me get there.
Yeah. I think there's a thought process, and I think that's part of the, for some people, bitching about something is part of that thought process to work through it.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
I absolutely. There's some level of, that's cathartic for some people, and they learn from that, they grow from that, and they need to hit that step before they can hit C. I get that.
I think there's some value to that. Like, to me, as long as you're getting value out of what you're doing in some way, shape, or form. Because I've done that. Like, I realized that I just bitch about stuff, or I'm, having Facebook arguments that I know it's so stupid. It's ridiculous. Why am I wasting my time doing this? Well, maybe I'm not wasting my time as long as I can glean something from it.
Sure.
But it's, I think to your point, it's when you're doing something and you get on the other side of it, and it had no benefit for you whatsoever.
Are there value in your actions?
Is there some kind of
values in your actions?
Yeah.
And this is very weird because it sounds like something fairly divergent that we're doing here, Fred.
I don't know about that. It's convergent to what I want to do.
But in the grand scheme of things, it might be divergent.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a big thing because it was The reason I asked you that, because I was driving down the road the other day and my daughter goes in the back seat. She goes, "Daddy, what's your New Year's resolution?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have. What do you? I don't." She's like, "I don't have one." She's like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, a resolution might as well be a cliche. Let's kill it.
Yeah, like it's, if I'm not doing it, like just to your point, if I'm not doing it right now, so it's just because somebody had this calendar that told me when I'm going to do this thing, and that's magically that's when I'm going to start it. That's silly to me. We've had conversations. And I don't remember exactly all how it got there, but I had the conversation with my daughter about time, and she was like, "Well, we need to do this then because of this," or the kind of tying in the resolution conversation where I was like, "Look, it's not the same time for everybody around the world." She's like, "What do you mean?" Oh, I think it was because it was. Oh, this was a whole. Maybe this is. I don't know. Maybe this is conversation, or maybe it's a whole different conversation for a different day. Just randomly, she goes, "Do you know that that the day Jesus was born was when we started our calendar?" I was like, "Well, I understand what you're saying." I said, "But do you think before Jesus was born, people didn't keep track of time?"
Sure.
And obviously she's 9. Like, she's not understanding where I'm going with it, but like my point to her was, and I tried to explain it to her, and, in the following conversation we had, that, it's all in our own perceptions of time and days and where we are, even this very moment. It's not the same time here as it is, a few states away.
Bro, what if she would have been like, "Daddy, the Mayan calendar is far more accurate than the Octavian calendar."
Right. Yeah. She'll probably get there. She watches enough Ancient Aliens. She might get there. But that was remind me, go back on that one. Aliens. I got a good one for you. Did you hear about the provision or whatever that was written in the bill about it starts the 180-day countdown?
No.
Oh, we'll go back to that.
Wait, hold on. Which bill are we talking?
I think it was this most recent Corona bill,
Okay.
the relief bill about UFOs and stuff. There was something written.
How much money did we donate to those foreign nations?
Oh, at least a couple $100 million for sure.
Fantastic.
Billion, I don't know, but yeah, Planet Zepton or something. But that was the point where it's like I was taught, like, just because you have a perception of a certain thing does not mean that the person beside you does, and that doesn't mean that either of you are wrong.
Sure.
And she's like, well, so we kind of talked about a couple different things, and obviously we're in Ohio. I said, well, Indiana, they don't follow daylight savings. Their time is the same year round. They don't, take.
Is this where you're going with the aliens, or
no? But I was just
joking.
I was just trying to make the simple point to her that, like, we often see things, obviously we see things through our own eyes, but we often forget that what other people experience can be much different than us, and that, it doesn't make anything wrong or right.
Man, this goes back to the Joe conversation, man.
Yeah. I mean, anything specific that you're referring to?
No, I just mean the way that he looks at people and assesses the situation. It's not from his point of view. It's reaction to an action, and that's a hell of a cool way to, like, for law enforcement, but anyone in general. Like, what if more people did that? What if you weighed every word or every action? Holy smokes!
Yeah, and think about the consequences of all those things.
Yeah.
I've thought about them more frequently. I can say that as our recorded word gets out there.
Understood.
But even then, it's I think the world would be a better place if we thought about what we're saying.
Bro, you know what Dan always said about before you say something? True, kind, necessary, and encouraging. If it doesn't meet those qualifications, maybe you shouldn't say it.
I agree with that, because even something necessary could counteract all those other things. Well, maybe not false, but just because you may have to say something that is necessary that is not kind.
But in the end, is it kind? Because define a friend. That's someone who tells you what you need to know, not what you want to know.
Was it true, kind,
necessary, and encouraging? I almost brought it up on the last one, but we were deep in some other stuff. But true, kind, necessary, and encouraging. I think you can figure out a way to make each one of them stand on their own.
For sure.
And then, to coalesce with the others.
Yeah, they have to have some kind of symbiotic, relationship. Because there's sometimes people say things that are encouraging that are not true. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think they need to meet all of those is what he's getting at. Like if they are not like these four things, maybe you shouldn't say them, or at least question saying them.
I agree with that. And like I guess going back to your point of just because you say something that doesn't sound kind, but it is true and it is necessary, maybe that's what makes it kind. Is the fact that it was true and necessary to a friend.
You give me 3 out of 4? Is that what I'm hearing here?
Yeah, or at least, I think, but like as long as you, there's probably some kind of flow chart.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you said, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe there is some kind of, maybe not flow chart's not the right word. Some kind of
Venn diagram.
Yeah, a Venn diagram.
We get 3 of these, but this is the outlier.
Yes.
We're circled in 3 of these realms, fire away.
Yeah.
4th one's out, but it meets the 3. There we go.
More of a Venn diagram. I'd totally subscribe to that.
I didn't know we were going to get all math today. I mean that is your forte, so.
I don't know if that's it. It's just how my brain works. I like that, though. I could see a really cool Venn diagram built out of that. I like the Venn diagram. Because there's, the further you move away from one, often it can,
True, kind, necessary, encouraging.
I like it. Dan's a good dude. Did he come up with that with himself? Was that all him?
Does anyone ever come up with anything original anymore?
I don't know. There's so many times where like I've thought of things where I'm like, oh, I had this awesome idea. Wait a minute. I don't know where I heard it from. I don't even know if I did hear it from somewhere, but it's probably not.
I heard that in a history class before, that something about there's no original ideas. They're just recycled ideas. It doesn't mean they're not good, but they were recycled in some sense.
Yeah, maybe. What about this? This just hit me, which I've probably once again heard it from somewhere. There's no original ideas, rather original applications.
I could definitely see the application part.
Maybe that's what it is.
Because there's a lot of ideas floating around, but there's a lot of opportunities to employ
said ideas.
Yes.
We should make a T-shirt of that or something. I don't know how many times a month do you think I send you a text message that just says idea, and I throw it out there, and you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Well, in a sense, I feel like in the beginning you were like, "I have no idea." I think you're getting used to it now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But if I don't understand something, I'm always going to ask for an explanation.
No, for sure.
I think you've gotten better too at
I filter it through my own,
through
myself a little bit more.
Like, what the fuck is he trying to say? And I'm like,
I didn't know either. I was hoping you'd help me out.
And I'd be like, do you mean this, or this? And you'd be like, I mean this. And I'm like, okay, well, why didn't you just say that? And you're like, that's the way my brain's working. So I
didn't know how to say that.
I feel like it's filtered down now at some point. It's condensing and it's more concise at this point. I think.
But do you think that's a bad thing though? Because but maybe I'm catering my thoughts, the way I explain my thoughts and ideas now to you.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't. I think this goes back to your whole your exploration and your watching these videos, you're doing these podcasts, you're listening to podcasts, all these things, and all of a sudden it's the assimilation of these ideas and how to put them in a more understandable manner, I think is what it is. For me, like I feel, and I've never told you this, but I feel bad because you'll text me some stuff and it's very good stuff, but like I'm so damn busy that like
it's okay.
I can't give it a great response. Like I'll try to, and I feel like I fall short. And then I'm like, I can just picture you on the other end. Like, you're like, that motherfucker didn't read that, or like, that's a shit response. And I'm like, oh man. But like, I want to respond, just so you know. I want to respond. And
maybe we could like print them out. And we could like put them on like on like a tack board that we can like, let's revisit that one because I'm not prepared.
I try and read it. I try and do my due diligence, but like, there's times where I'm doing like 3 things at once, and it's an idea or a concept that you can't do any more than just that one thing.
No,
it'd be like, oh, hey, let's discuss string theory and write some prescriptions and give a digital rectal exam with these 2 fingers at the same time.
Yeah, while I'm playing a guitar with the other.
Yeah, a viola. Like, no, it doesn't. You're not doing that, man. It's just I don't.
Our functions.
Yeah, I don't. Well, my function. Yeah. I'll eliminate here. I don't possess that capacity.
Well, I'm saying I've never played a guitar with one hand and given a digital exam with the other. Not saying I turned it down. Well, not saying I wouldn't try.
Sounds like a Saturday night watch out, Cass.
Yeah. Next Tuesday, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. No, to me, it's just I don't feel bad because I do the same thing to myself. I have notes upon notes upon notes upon notes in my own phone. Where like, I guess I've gotten better at recognizing my own ridiculousness at points where I go, okay, I'm going to put that down on a note to remind me later, and I'll revisit it then. And sometimes I'll revisit it and be like, what the fuck was I talking about?
True.
And the other times I'm like, and even later, then the idea will come back and I'll go, oh, okay. No, I think I can make this make sense now, but I'll store it myself and just sit on it. But sometimes I catch weird ideas that, I don't know. I just want someone to tell me either, yeah, that's really interesting, or that sounds fucking stupid. and explain to me why it sounds stupid. So that I can be like, oh yeah, no, you're right. That's stupid. Chuck that one out. I think it kind of goes back to the, even Dune brought it up, being the smartest person in the room or being the most eclectic or this, that, whatever. Finding different avenues with different people.
The balance.
Yeah. You get to another piss break? Is that the face you're giving me right now? Jesus.
Yep.
That was potty break number, 2, 3? I don't know.
3 on camera roll.
3. Well, technically, probably only 2 on camera because I forgot to roll the camera. 2021's coming in great.
We gotta get someone for next week, bro.
We have someone.
Oh, is that Corey and Steve?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay, I put that in the calendar. I thought we did.
Yep. I gotta look up this bill. And we're live right now, just FYI.
I'm not speaking to the mic, nor do I have headphones
That's
on.
okay. I'm gonna look up this bill that we're talking about.
What time are they?
I think 1:00.
Okay.
No, just kidding. We didn't set up a time.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put one in there.
I'm doing a ruck in the morning. Should be an easy one, but I figure it'd be afternoon.
How far are you guys going?
He's doing his competition, or not competition, his event, like the next week. I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing the event.
Okay.
So it's going to be pretty light. Basically kind of a decompress week.
Like sub 6 miles?
Yeah, probably like 6 miles, something like that. I don't even think he's taking weight, just to kind of decompress for a week to get ready for it.
The deload ruck?
Yeah, the deload ruck. Mm-hmm. So, there was one thing I wanted to come back to that I mentioned, that House bill for I feel like we talked about it maybe before we started. It was the removal of, what was it, binary pronouns or something that.
Your words, not mine.
Well, I was just kind of curious if you had thoughts on it. Like, what, to me, like why? I get not even that why. I get why.
No, so
but why?
No. You get why. I don't get why. That was literally what I was going to say. Like, and I think this goes back to some of our conversations. The why, like the intention. So Explain to me why, I guess.
Well, I understand that there are folks out there that don't identify as he, she, those designated pronouns that we've had for so long.
Wait, so that's a part I guess I don't understand. And like,
I'm not saying I understand why, or I'm not understanding how at all and what their feelings are. I'm saying I understand that those people exist.
okay, so there's people, even if they had, let's say they were a female and they transitioned to a male, they don't want to be called like he or him, like they have something else, or is this outside of that? Like this is just they might be a male and they were biologically a male and they have a heterosexual relationship, but they still don't identify as a male. They're just completely just neutral in their, would you call that binary identification?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't. And I'd love to talk to somebody. I'd love to talk to somebody about this too that is entrenched in it, as it were. Because, to tie it into past discussions that we've had on this show, kind of like the Jordan Peterson debacle that he found himself in, which made him famous. People were calling him a bigot and all these different things because of the fight he put up against putting into law, using certain pronouns and, whatever it may be. And to me, and he even said, if I have a student, because he was a professor, he said, if I have a student that is...
You respect that, and if they want to be called by these certain pronouns, like you'll respect that, and you'll do that. But to make it a law
that's a weird path to go down. That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, when you get into laws, I mean that's.
And I think that's.
I don't know if there's any coming back from that.
Right, I think that's part, and that's part of the whole word conversation that we've had too.
Sure.
Is when you start enacting laws. And when you start requiring people do certain things a certain way, or they're not allowed to say something, it gets real sticky real quick. And that's my fear of, what are we getting ourselves into? And those are the crappy headphones, bro. Why are you putting those on? Bro. Probably couldn't hear yourself very well, but I think that's what scares me, and that's the difficult conversation, because I don't think a lot of people are looking at the depth of what's going on, and the depth of the conversations and the arguments they're having is, I don't care what race you are, what, how you identify, sexually or biologically. Well, I don't know. Can you identify biologically? I don't know if that's a thing. But I don't care about any of that. But as soon as you start imposing your restrictions on other people, that's where we need to be concerned. And I don't think people are seeing that. They go, well, these laws are good, or this is good, and like you should do this because this is the right thing to do. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with should. You should call people by the pronouns that they would like you to call them by, right? I'm good. I'm good with that. You should call. I don't call you some other random name every single time I see you, because you have a name that you want to be called by. You should be referred to how you would like to be.
You had a hell of a nickname for me today.
What did I call you today?
Your daughter did.
Oh, that was not me. That was my daughter. That was the. Yeah. But that was a reference she didn't even understand.
God, let's hope so, because I do not want that nickname.
Sometimes her intelligence level is inappropriate, and she doesn't know where it lands. Doesn't know where it gets her. Yeah, I don't even remember what she called you now. It was some kind of worm that.
Yeah, I do, loud and clear. Not something I want to be called.
Okay, well, we just won't say it. That way people won't call you that. But I have no problem with calling you whatever you want to be called, but when we start requiring people to do things,
True.
I think we aren't thinking about the end of that slippery slope. And people are like, oh, well, you're a bigot, you're an asshole, or this, that, whatever. Like, no, like,
Yeah, how are you a bigot or an asshole if those aren't your original intentions?
Yeah, that's not.
And you know what? If you need to be corrected, hey,
Give me the chance to be corrected.
I didn't know that. Those weren't my intentions. I wasn't trying to offend you. Now I know. Now I won't repeat it. Life goes on.
Right. But as soon as you start making it illegal, or you are legally, what's the word that he used? Compelling. As soon as you're legally compelling somebody to to say something in a certain way, I mean, you're not realizing that you're giving up your freedom of speech. And people think, well, you shouldn't say that. I agree with you, but where does that all end? And that's where I think people are losing sight of there's things that can happen legally. It's kind of like the, social media thing of people being censored or whatever. Like, put it out there. Let people be stupid. Let everybody realize how arrogant and stupid Donald Trump is. Stop censoring him. Because, eventually people are going to go,
Wow, this guy is that dumb.
This guy really is that stupid. Give people enough rope to let them hang themselves. And then everyone will realize, oh, wow, that person was really dumb.
Yeah. Or have the discussion.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what better way to debunk words than a conversation?
Yeah. Because then you realize, oh, well, like that's not
words.
Yeah. And the understanding of what the people hear, what people hear you say and what you hear other people say. And that way you can explain to them, hey, they say, well, what the fuck do you mean by that? That's pretty rude. And you go, what do you mean? What was rude about that? Well, this was rude about that. And that person go, oh.
I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah,
but here's what I meant.
That's not what I meant at all.
I guess I took that the wrong way.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe
we're having this thing called open dialogue.
Yeah, and maybe we can agree on a way to say what we're both saying different ways so we can understand what each other are saying.
Oh my, you're saying you're using words that I'm using, but they mean two different things, but I understand what you're saying and you understand what I'm saying and we don't get offended. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. That could happen in 2021.
Yeah. And I think that's what social media has done. It's taken that away. Full circle. All the way back to at some point we made it earlier. That's what it has done because people read something and they go, that person's this or that, and this is what they mean. And that the other party never got a chance to say, whoa, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. And whether they're right or wrong, then it's okay. I understand your vocabulary, or, hey, your vocabulary is wrong. Okay, let me fix it.
So obviously that's not going to always happen. And these conversations aren't going to always happen. The algorithms are written. So do you think it's something where the algorithms need to be rewritten so that people that don't mean the things that are truly damaging, which that's up to interpretation itself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But there are things that I do think are just absolutely malicious. And I guess how do you judge those
for sure
on the algorithm? But, the whole unity movement.
Yeah.
Like that
there was nothing
that got shut down and there was nothing like where in the algorithm did that?
Yeah. And that was for those of you who didn't listen. I think it was like episode 5. We talked about Unity 2020.
Oh.
And it was a movement where they were attempting to say, hey, you know what? This duopoly of, our political system, the Democrats and Republicans have failed us. We want to take someone that is somewhere center left and center right because they believed in this. This is the closest, political stance that I can agree to that I've heard so far is, let's take someone that's a little left, a little right in their beliefs, put them together, and they run for president and vice president. And, we in a sense, draft them.
Sounds like a little sugar, a little spice.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's nice.
A little bit nice. But that's, and I think that idea is a phenomenal. There's nothing malicious about that. There's nothing, what's wrong with just trying to represent the, people.
Oh, you mean two people from different parties actually have
Working
to
together?
work together?
Yeah, this whole thing,
compromise on some things.
Bipartisanship and working across the aisle. Like, come on. Like, we should be working across the aisle all the time. You know what? Maybe there should be multiple aisles. And I'll give that to other countries that some countries take it a little too far and they have like 30 different like parties that people are running for platforms. Like that doesn't make sense. But this whole,
at a minimum 3.
Yeah, this whole Republican Democrat thing has gotten way out of fucking hand. But yeah, so going back to, they were just,
hold on. What's the third animal? We got a donkey. We got an elephant. You thinking velociraptor?
oh, it's not bad.
Chupacabra? Getting crypto on you? Bigfoot.
We got a donkey. We got an elephant. Why is it a donkey and an elephant? I don't know. Do we know? Do I?
Probably have to look it up. I don't know either. I'm sure it goes back to something old and antiquated.
I feel like maybe it should be like some kind of predatory animal.
Probably a fusa.
What's a fusa?
Look up Madagascar and fusa. It's the only predator to a lemur, I believe.
Foos.
FOSSA.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's got like a rat cat face, but it looks big.
Yeah. So it adopted something from both parties, if you will. It's the chimera of parties.
Yeah, I like that because it kind of looks friendly, but it kind of looks mean. It's like
the duality, bro.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. I'm not even going to think of it anymore. Fusa. Unity 2020. It's the Fusa party. Yeah. I like it. It looks like it could cuddle up beside you or eat your face off.
Yeah.
Either way. Or both. You never know.
Sounds like some relationships I've been in.
Yeah. I like it. I've never seen that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's super. Okay, yeah, I like it. Okay, so it's a Fusa party. But Unity 2020 just they have no idea why their Twitter got completely shut down. And I think it's back up and it's back up now, but this was what, like a month before.
Yeah.
It was like a month and a half before the election.
Dude, so is that an algorithm or is that a party?
No.
Is that a left party, right party saying, hey, we're going to take votes away, or nobody knows?
Yeah, well, so I think from everything I've gathered, all the conversations I've heard, they blamed it on an end of. They're saying it was an algorithm, but like they had literally hours before their Twitter got shut down, they keyed a hashtag that was it. Not Donald or Joe or something like that.
I remember. There's something catchy.
Yeah, there's something catchy that like they had a hashtag that started trending, and then we don't know what it must have been in the algorithms, and Twitter didn't respond to them for weeks. Like, what's going on? Something's going on, and it's fishy. I don't like why. Like what? Like there's something weird going on. I think we're
bro. And by fishy, like you're not talking girls' locker room. You're talking deadliest catch.
Jesus Christ. Something is amiss. I'll put it that way. Yeah, but I don't know how we got on that either. But something weird's going on, and no one seems to have an explanation for it or understanding of it.
Bro, not even Moxie Marlinspike.
Yeah, did you listen to that whole?
I did listen to that whole.
It was interesting.
It was interesting.
Super interesting. And it's like the entirety of the Moxie Marlinspike interview, which
I can't believe that's a real name, but please continue.
Super. But he's an interesting guy. In his app, Moxie Marlinspike is a person that Joe Rogan had on, and where this is the interview we're referring to. but he created a messaging app that is entirely encrypted. So you can't, when you send a text message, whether it be iPhone, Android, whatever it is, all those text messages are saved.
Think about that, guys. When you're sending dick pics, the whole world can see them.
And gals, every
gals.
single picture, every single whatever it is, it's all saved.
It's out there.
Out there, period. If somebody wants it, if the government, it goes back to the thin wall that is. Remember, it was a couple of years ago. There was a that terrorist attack, and the terrorists had a iPhone, and the government screwed it up. They had access to everything. They had access to like 90% of everything.
They said, "Hey, Apple, why don't you unlock this?" And they said, "No, sirree."
Yeah.
And they said, "This is a matter of national security." And they said, "No, sirree."
Yeah, but that's a whole different conversation too. I think they talked about that on the
I think they
Moxie
mentioned it
Marlins
briefly.
fight. Yeah, but this guy, like, people don't realize how much of their information is out there, and they think, "What's the big deal?" I used to think the same thing. What's the big deal? But guess what? The more and more constraints we have, full circle, back on freedom of speech and things that are okay to say and aren't okay to say, it really comes all the way back to a conversation I think we had right at the beginning of the podcast where, was it 80, less than 100 years ago? Was it 90 years? No, 70, 80 years ago? The Holocaust. That wasn't that long.
No, not that long ago.
That's not that long ago. 80 years. There's still people alive that lived through it, and to listen to some of their tales and everything is just incredible. But people like to throw the word Nazi around and this, that, whatever. Like, if you really truly understand what happened through Nazi Germany and, like Maoist China and some of these scenarios, that this is not just verbiage to just toss around flippantly. And to understand those things that happened, and then today bringing it into the new age where people think, oh, it's no big deal. So what, they had my text messages. What does it matter? Like, well, it doesn't matter until it does. Until you say something, until you do something, until you post something that somebody decides that they're offended by or is wrong or is illegal. And they think, well, I'm not doing anything illegal now. I'm not saying anything that's wrong now. Well, how many times does it happen? We've seen through Hollywood and everything else in politics, 40, 30 years later, they dig through somebody's past.
Kevin
And
Hart.
Not even, some politicians.
Oh, yeah.
Like serious things that have happened that have ruined people's lives and careers because.
Wait, you mean like Joe Biden's comments about black people?
Well, that doesn't count because he's Joe Biden.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Duh.
Sorry.
But that's the biggest thing. Like, oh, well, people can change. Yeah, they can. We should allow them to change. And you know what? If Joe Biden isn't the racist motherfucker he was 30 years ago, great. I hope he's not. I really hope he's not.
But if you accept that, you better accept something coming from the Republicans from the right.
Yeah, or just people in general, they say and do things that 30 years ago, think times were different.
Yeah, like I said, Bob Dylan said it. The times they are changing, and they're constantly changing.
Yeah. So, and how many times have you heard somebody? Well, they tweeted this, or this was on his MySpace page 30 years ago. Canceled. Now that person can't get a job anywhere that is even half reputable or can make a decent amount of living. Like, all these things are saved.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is it's not just people that are in the limelight. It's not famous people. Mm-hmm. It's anyone that has a voice. It's professors. It's teachers. Yep. And they'll pull that stuff.
Academia.
And now, academia, you can't even have a conversation about something that, even if you don't feel that way, hey, don't even talk about that.
Yeah,
don't talk about it, Fred. Don't talk about it.
You're not allowed talking about it. Why? We can't talk anymore. So going back to perfect example, that Moxie Marlin Spike. I have no idea who he was until I listened to that interview. And if anybody out there that's listening to this knows who Moxie Marlin Spike is, well, more power to you. But if you don't, this is a perfect example. Through his life, he's created this app that is encrypted. So even him, the owner and creator of the company, can't read text messages. They're not saved. They're just gone. That's if you're communicating with somebody
on that platform,
in the same platform. So it'll tell you like this message.
Fred Wynn has joined.
Yeah.
Signal.
Or this conversation is encrypted. So that whatever discussion you're having, no one else can tap into it. And for the most part, for most people, it doesn't matter until it does. But so
sounds like post 9/11.
Yeah. Or, they came, for the Jews, and I wasn't a Jew. They came for this. They came for this, that poem. We've talked about it a handful of times.
Yeah.
And then they came for me, and there was no one else to speak up for me.
Sure.
Whatever it was. Like, if you realize that the slope is slipping, where's it going and where are you standing? Eventually it's coming. But so Moxie, he at one point, and I couldn't believe it. And it was such a short discussion during the interview.
It was like 5 minutes. I cued into that just because of what you said.
Yeah. So I sent it to you and I was like, dude, you got it just blew my mind. So when he would travel, there was a period of time when he would fly. He was not able to print his ticket from a kiosk. He had to go up to a desk, talk to somebody. They had to make a special call. They made him wait for 45 additional minutes.
At least 45 minutes.
At least to get on a flight. And that was just nationally, intercontinental. And then when he would fly international, every single time he came back from another country, they would want him to open up his phone and be able to search it. So constitutionally, you can't do that. As long as, unless you have a print, I think there's some weird constitutional things around if you have face recognition, whatever. But he wouldn't up his phone, and they confiscated all of his electronics.
Well, that was because he wouldn't open them up.
That was because he wouldn't open them up.
He said, well, we'll find him. We'll get the password. And he was like, oh, do what you do.
Yeah, no, you won't. But do
what you do.
Yeah. So they confiscated his electronics every single time he came in. Every single time he came in from an international flight. And he wouldn't get them back for weeks. He was never told why. He has no idea. The only thing he says he can even remotely place to it is at one point he was mentioned in some kind of speech or something like that in a WikiLeaks conversation. And ever since then, it was just, they were just dicking with him. And that
sounds like Russia or China. Is what it sounds like.
That's the government. Like, can you imagine just one day somebody mentions your name or, you make some offhanded remark about something. And then from now on, you can't travel without being hassled by the government.
I know what I would do.
I'd find a house in the woods and disappear.
No,
that's what I would do. I'm like, fine, I'll go live on my own.
I would immediately carry an alternative phone, and I would just take the most amazing veiny dick pics and give them the password so when they opened up.
Look through them. Ooh, that was a good one. Look at
baby's arm holding an apple.
That's the sepia one. That's my favorite. It's just a nice tone, nice lighting. Isn't that great?
It's so amazing.
Maybe you should have done that. Yeah. But it just blew my mind that some dude I never heard of, wasn't involved in any type of political anything, has never been charged with anything, nothing, and just for years was harassed by customs and the government. Just because his name was because he thinks maybe his name was mentioned in something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like China, which is scary. Everything. And you know what? This year, especially with Hong Kong, nobody gave a shit about them taking over Hong Kong and imprisoning people for protesting against their government. Nobody gave a shit about the Uyghurs. Shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
God damn it, Tony. This is supposed to be a happy new year 2021.
By whose standards? Everyone but yours? Bro, you were the one saying 2020 is going to make 2021 is going to make 2020 look like it's bitch.
Yeah, but I was really trying to like go into 2021 being all positive and whatnot.
It doesn't mean we're not positive. It just means we're probably pragmatic.
Is it going back to your Venn diagram or Dan's Venn diagram of just because it's honest and encouraging doesn't necessarily true. It doesn't mean just because it's true or encouraging.
True, kind
doesn't mean it's going to be honest,
encouraging.
Yeah, kind,
back and forth,
whatever it is.
Just cancel one out. Canceling one out.
What are your plans for 2021?
Oh.
Just say it.
I can't say it. I can't say it. It was the most immediate thing that came to mind.
Which is probably not the first thing you should say.
No, not at all. Immediate. Like it would have got laughs for sure, but it's not even remotely like
appropriate.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at all.
All right. So now that you've had time, what and I guess it goes back to that conversation of, what's your New Year's resolution, which we both, I think, agreed that that's horseshit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think everybody needs to start somewhere. So maybe this can be somebody out there, their start of realizing that New Year's resolutions are horseshit and changing your life because of that. Real quick on that, I've had a couple conversations recently with people that we've talked about with the podcast and different things, and we've mentioned it a couple times that is it selfish if you're helping somebody out? And I have struggled with that because I really enjoy helping people out. And it's difficult to ride the line of trying to help people out and it's not hard to not get a big head. No, that's what it was. Somebody mentioned to me, like, look, like you should take some credit where credit is due. And I have a hard time with that. I don't like taking credit for things.
I mean, I guess like why? Like what what was their explanation of as why do you need to take some credit?
Well, it was kind of along all those lines. We talk about the podcast and different things and helping people out, and it went all the way back way before the podcast. Like I took a position at a job once that I knew was going to be very difficult.
Sure.
But the only reason I took it was because my superiors had told me who they were going to put in that position.
Okay.
And that person, I didn't take it because that person couldn't do it, or because I disliked that person, or because I didn't think that person deserved it, or I think I deserved it more, because I didn't want it. I literally, for months, I said, yeah, no, not interested, not doing it. But at one point, they were sitting down, we were talking about some different things, and they said, well, we're going to put this person in this position. And it was a very difficult position to be in. And I said, really? Like that's you're going to do that to that person? And they said, well, you've already said you're not going to do it. So we have to find somebody. And this is who we're going to, who we're going to put in the position. And that I knew that person wasn't ready for it because they were really new. And with all of the factors that went into it.
She was Gumby green, bro.
Yeah, and I knew it was going to destroy them.
Yeah.
Because it's so, even saying it out loud, it makes me like, but you know what, fuck it, whatever. I just knew they weren't ready for it. I knew I could do it. I just didn't want to do it. And I knew if that person took that position, it would destroy them. Because it's an incredibly tasking position. So I said, you know what? Fine. Like, I'll fucking do it. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. And then in my head, I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do this, if I can, because it was a position that like you were a manager of some people. And I was like, you know what? If I can change somebody's life in the process, I don't want to do this. This is going to be a pain in my ass. This is going to literally ruin my life as long as I'm doing this. But if I can help somebody out, because you have that leverage. If I can help somebody out, it'll be worth it. And that was right at the turning point of me, you know, trying not to be an asshole in my life span that we've talked about in the past.
Sure.
So, you know, I was able to do that. And then all the way through, you know, where we are now, you know, we had that kind of discussion of like, you know, going all the way back to that, like, I just want to help people out. I want to, like, I feel like I have personally made a breakthrough in my own life of happiness and all these things. And I contentness and just enjoying life. So if I can do that, that's what I want to do. And the person was like, well, like there's people reaching out to you. They've told you you've done this, that, like, and you've helped them out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit in that, because I don't want to get a big head about it, or, you know, it's a very hard thing to, like,
yeah, but you don't think there's a difference between an acknowledgement versus just, like you said, wallowing in it? I think you can go, cool, that's awesome. Like, I did that. And that probably came from somewhere else. Like, dude, you were influenced by someone else.
Absolutely.
Or you were helped by someone else. And then you can pass that along. And you go, yep, I did that. But you don't dwell on it. And then you keep moving on. Versus taking complete and total credit for that. Or just staying in that moment like, oh, I helped that person. Like, here's where I'm at. This defines me. Which right. I know that wouldn't define you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, but I guess my point is that I attempt to continue that. This is a strong word for it, but self-deprecation, in order to maintain, you know, the path forward. You know, it's not that it's enough or not enough. It's just, this is what I'm doing. And I think, like, without that, this podcast never would have been a thing.
So I think there's a differentiation between deprecation
there
versus
is. I don't know the word for it or whatever. No, you know what I'm trying to say.
No. So I don't think you need to put yourself down to understand, like, that what happened internally for you to help someone. I think that goes back to that introspective thinking, if you will.
No, I guess I agree with that. I just don't know how to, you know, to say it properly. But it was interesting, the fact that, like, I was having this conversation after I had already, quote unquote, achieved things that I had said, well, if I do this, it'll be worth it if this happens, if I can do something. And then it happened. And then to continue to be able to kind of pay it forward, you know, and I think that's a big piece of being successful. You know, I don't consider myself necessarily successful compared to other people. But in my own life, I've gotten to the point where, like, I'm good. Like, I don't, like, and the same thing with the podcast. Like, you know what? I'm doing it for me. I don't give a fuck what anyone else hears this, you know, and they think, you know, rather, but if I'm wrong, or if I'm saying something super fucked up, please tell me, because just for my own benefit, I'm not doing it for anybody else. Just for me, like, I want to be able to fix things and correct, and I want to be able to be the best person I can be. But, you know, part of being hard on yourself is what continues to perpetuate being good for other people, while balancing, this is the hard part of, where do you stop? And maybe this is the 2021 lately I've come upon, is, where do you stop laying down for other people? You know, and where do you go say, no, I'm fucking sick and tired of it. You know what? No, I'm not even going to get into that right now. I can't.
So maybe
I get start ranting and raving. Sorry.
So, dude, maybe you don't get sick and tired of anything, man. Like maybe you set your parameters, and dude, here's the amount that you give to other people, but you know that there's self-preservation in that, and here's the amount that you don't cross because you keep that self-preservation.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Where's the self-preservation? Override the true
Is it that hard though? Like, are you okay? Here I think here's where the line is. Are you still growing, and are you still helping people? Versus, are you taking away from yourself at a sacrifice where you're not growing yourself? I think that's where the line is right there. Think about that for a second.
I think I'm gonna have to think about that for a couple of weeks. I feel like, but it's hard though. Because when you think about, people just, you have that self-preservation aspect where you don't want to step outside of the box. You don't want to step outside of the box too much to get noticed, but you need to step outside of that box in order to grow. It's kind of where is good and evil?
Yeah, but is your intention to get noticed, or did it just happen?
Yeah, So no, I understand what you're saying there, but I mean in a sense of when you think something is wrong or right, or standing up for something and self-preservation.
Now we're getting into the base core of morals,
right? So where do you draw that line of going? You know what? I could stand up. You know what? It's perfect. Kind of tiny. I saw a picture. It was wild. It was like 1936. It was a picture of a crowd, and they were Nazis, but there was one man in the crowd that was not saluting.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Oh man, I'll just see if I can find it. It's crazy, but he was a Nazi at the time. I'll have to see if I can find the story real quick because it was, and I'll be honest, I haven't fact checked it, but the story was pretty crazy. So what was his name? Landmesser. Let's see if I can pull this picture up for you.
Bro, I thought you were going to say Bonhoeffer. Old Dietrich.
Let's see if we pull this up here. Yeah. August Landmesser. So I don't know. I mean, we're going, so you see this picture here, August Landmesser. Everyone's doing the Nazi salute. And this one dude's sitting in the crowd with his arms crossed. So, and I don't know all the details but for the purpose of the conversation and whatnot, there's this little narrative written up about this picture. So this man was identified as August Landmesser, joined the Nazi Party in 1931. He believed that doing so would help him land a job during a poor economy. However, in 1934, as fate would have it, Landmesser fell in love with a Jewish woman named Irma Eckler. A year later, they became engaged, but their marriage application was denied by newly enacted Nuremberg laws, which prohibited marriage between Jews and non-Jews. This, however, did not deter them from having children. Eckler gave birth to their first daughter, Ingrid, in 1935. 2 years later, Landmesser and his wife and daughter attempted to flee Germany to Denmark, but were apprehended by authorities. Landmesser charged with dishonoring the race, but was later acquitted due to lack of evidence and was just ordered to end his relationship with Eckler. However, he refused to abandon his wife, was eventually arrested again in 1938. This time, he was sentenced to hard labor for 3 years at a nearby concentration camp, and it was the last time he would see his wife and daughter. Eckler was sent to prison, where she gave birth to their second daughter, Irene. From there, she was sent to a concentration camp where she was eventually murdered in 1942. Landmesser was released from his duties in 1941 and eventually was drafted to fight against the Allies. He was sent on the most dangerous missions due to his criminal past. quote-unquote criminal past.
Yeah.
He was eventually killed in action in Croatia in 1944. The two daughters were placed with foster parents and survived the war. So, like, this dude thought he made that tiny little decision of self-preservation. This looks like my best opportunity to move forward. But where is that line get crossed for the individual? And I feel like this is kind of like the challenge of humanity and being human itself, of where is that line for you, for me?
You're asking me this personally?
You know, I don't think there's ever a good answer. People say, like, oh, you have to fight for your rights and this, like, but, you know, what do you think that line is that you could come to where you could finally say, no, fuck self-preservation. I'm going to step into the fire. This isn't right. And I can't. Just not. Like, I'm not going to do this.
Can I answer this after a bathroom break?
Yes.
7,000.
Yeah. 7,246. Oh, and water running.
So what were you saying? I feel like you were at the point where you were like, how would you know? Like all these things going on, how would you know?
Yeah, because there's so much. There's so much going on these days, and we've talked about it before in the podcast where, you know, people think it's extravagant, or, you know, talking about Civil War in America and all these different things. And I think maybe we just need to, instead of beating around the bush, just say them. But, you know, we talked about, like I said, the podcast I had listened to is one of the beginning podcasts that I had started listening to was that the next American Civil War, or whatever it was called. I can't remember exactly, but I mentioned it in one of the previous podcasts. And the gentleman kind of talked about, you know, how a civil war in America would pan out and different things. And there's so much tension. And I think people are starting to realize that. The normal everyday person is beginning to realize the tension between people. And I think it's exacerbated by, you know, social media and the limited interaction we have with people, in the limited, you know, scope in which we're able to communicate with our language and all these things that we've discussed throughout podcasts. But, you know, I saw this, we're talking about Landmesser, the guy that he joined the Nazi party because he, you know, thought it was just an easy way to take care of his family, until his family wasn't recognized by this political party. And then they started killing people. And people, I think we've talked about before too, where in the United States, we're so insulated from all these bad things that are happening around the world. And we think that Nazi Germany can't happen again. Well, I feel like around the world, every single year, there's some kind of group of people there's some person that's pushing for it in some way, shape, or form. And it just hasn't gotten to that stage yet. But throughout history, it happens over and over and over again. And Nazi Germany wasn't that long ago. Really, people are still alive that lived through it. So why do we pretend like it's some outlandish thing that could happen again, that governments could take over, or people could take over a whole country, or, you know, and just slaughter millions and millions of people, like the Uyghurs and all these different topics. So, but like this guy, you know, where's the line? How do you determine where that line is? And even sometimes this guy, he was a Nazi, and then he decided, oh, maybe this isn't what I want to be. As it started progressing, you know, it goes back to that, where do where do you find redemption? Where do you draw your line? And
is it even redemption, or is it a moral compass? Because let me ask you this, man.
I mean, maybe not redemption, but I'm saying like in today, like we're so quick to cancel each other because somebody says one thing wrong. Well, here you have a guy, August Landmesser, that people could look at him, and by today's standards, he should have been canceled way before because he joined the Nazi Party. He's a terrible person. Well, no, he was just a person just trying to take care of his family. And then eventually he was the very first one in this, in this particular picture,
sure,
to stand up and go,
something's not right here.
Something's not, I'm not really jiving with
this. The
this.
moral compass isn't pointing due north.
Yeah, and he paid the price for it. So, like, how do we reconcile all of that with our lives and everything going on? And where do you finally just go, no, like, I'm fucking done?
So for me, man, I think that goes back to that moral compass. And like, maybe you don't agree with this. Maybe you don't think that there's such a thing as a right and a wrong. But like for me, like, dude, there's an underlying inherency, and I can't explain to you where that comes from. But dude, if I see some pedophilia, inherently at the deepest core of my soul, I know that it is wrong. Where does that come from? Was it because my dad ever said, hey, this is wrong? No, my dad never said that. I don't think my dad needed to say that. Did my mom say that? She didn't say that. Like, I feel that. Does that mean that it's right? In my mind, I think it's right. In the Greeks' minds, there was pederasty. Maybe that wasn't, for them it wasn't right, but I don't know, man. For me, I feel like there's this moral compass. And I know you could go to cultural relativism. I know you could bring up all these other topics where it may be okay in this society, it's okay in this society. For me, it is not right. For me, that is where I take a stand. There's this underlying inherency where at the core of my soul, I know that it is wrong. I'm willing to take a stand for it, and I'm willing to die for it.
Right. But how do we reconcile that with people that think that it's right?
Did you bring the gas or did you bring the match?
Right? I mean, it's...
No, dude. So
you know what I mean?
I half joke about that, but I think you have to ask the question why. So, dude, there's a part of me that I don't want to know why. Like, that's in my, like, I just want to kill everything.
Do you think it's some kind of survival?
So that's the second part of me is asking why.
Evolutionary, like, survival thing, like, just in our human, in our genome, that like that's just what's going to make us go forward?
Well, let's explore that. So, dude, play that card out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, evolutionary, like you were saying, to make us go forward. How so? Play that card out. Let me hear it.
What do you mean?
You said it. That's your idea.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it's where war, and we've talked about this before too, war is what was the quote? Where it's found I don't know, I'm going to screw it completely up, where it's basically found the perfect...
Bro, are you talking war was always there? It was waiting for man. Man was its ultimate practitioner.
Practitioner, yes. It's found its practitioner.
Yeah. So
do you think that's what I mean? Do you think that we are contemplating and we are trying to make more out of things than what they really are, and just it is what it is, and when two fucking monkeys disagree, they're gonna fight, and whichever one wins, well, that must be the right one. The strong always win.
So I definitely don't know that the strong always win, because now you're talking about elements of reasoning, opposable thumbs, different things where it's not always bigger always wins. And in the animal kingdom, it does. It's proven time and time again. I don't want to get in one of these conversations about the animal kingdom, because then we'll go into animals and emotion, and you know how much the audience.
Oh my God, dude! I saw an article today where it was titled. What was it? It was angling. recreational. Oh, what was it? It's the title of it.
Are you trying to tell me fish have feelings?
It was the most beautifully. Oh, it was so.
If you're trying to tell me fish have feelings, you can fuck off right now.
I gotta find it. It was like. I think it was like angling, like recreational abuse, or no, angling
recreational
cruelty. It's like, bro, like
was that the Facebook lady that commented there that said that same thing too?
No, that was she. I don't know how she feels about fishing, but
fishing for arguments.
Oh man, no, but that's like, is it just because we have that metacognition and we have consciousness, even though we don't know what it is, even though we can't truly, pinpoint it, because that's what the greatest quote unquote philosophers of time have done, is tried to explain this whole thing that we're doing, right? This whole life thing.
The fact that we can understand our own thoughts.
Yeah, this whole living thing, the fact that we can communicate, and this advancement of, consciousness and technology in life. Do you think that
hold on,
maybe having the,
is it that so? And I'm not trying to downplay that, but I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I guess is it that hard when you say that metacognition, the fact that we understand our thoughts, we understand that we have thoughts, we understand that we reason to a deeper level, we have these emotional thoughts. Like, I don't see dogs building cities.
right?
I don't see cats writing regression equations.
Right. So what's the point?
I mean, I guess the point is, like, doesn't it kind of prove that to some degree about metacognition and about the fact that we are higher?
No, I would agree, but so that's what I'm saying is do you think, maybe to your point, that because we have that capability, that we get caught in a reductive cycle where we analyze things so much that we've analyzed them beyond the point of not recognition, but I'm really losing my words now, but like the point of it's futile. Like that maybe we think about things too much.
Dude, not when it comes to the point of reducing a race. Going back to our original conversation. Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's that underlying inherency for me to understand, like, a moral compass.
Right.
And I know that you have a moral compass too.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know
we all do.
No, I don't know that we all do.
Well, not all of us. I mean, yeah. I mean, psychopaths don't necessarily.
I don't even know that you have to reduce it to not a psychopath, but a sociopath. I don't know that you have to reduce it to a sociopath. Like, I
don't
think
know
someone.
I don't know all my paths very well. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I think someone could be blinded by an interest or a goal or things like that.
But wouldn't that fall into sociopathic traits?
Megalomania?
Yeah.
Traits, but I don't know that the underlying diagnoses.
Well, yeah, but that once again, then we go back to, well, we've created diagnoses for something that we've created.
Something convenient to put it in the
group.
Group.
We're just putting it in a box. And this is where it goes. Yeah.
Maybe.
And, and I guess maybe my argument stems from partially this is that, that the angling, the recreational cruelty, where we have deduced, where we think we impose so much on other people. And, where are all those lines drawn, and how do we do that to properly move forward? Because obviously, killing somebody else, that's no good. Killing an animal, that's okay. But at the same time, like, animals kill each other all the time. Animals would kill their own all the time.
Sure. Infanticide and
yeah,
whatever.
Just because, I think it's lions that do that. Is it lions that do that? That
Infanticide, yeah.
They'll kill other males' cubs. Yeah, we
spoke about it earlier.
Yeah. So, and then people will argue about that. Like, so where does our own understanding of ourselves and our thoughts and our consciousness at some point kind of get in the way of progression because we're so consumed with...
As in we have to give a fish rights?
Right. Like,
yeah, dude, for me, it goes back
you know
to
what I mean?
Like,
like
what does it contribute? What does it contribute to the advancement of mankind?
But some would argue that the advancement of mankind is actually wrong. We shouldn't be we should be trying to live harmoniously with our world around us. That we shouldn't be advancing because
it's called I fucking eat the harmonious things and I advance us. Like I develop a new type of technology,
right? And that goes.
And if you don't like that, you can be eaten. Like get in fucking line with the animals that I'm going to eat.
That's exactly. It goes back to the animal kingdom. Like so. Is it just, are we really just continuing to give into our traits and has the trait of being cognizant of ourselves actually slowed us down?
I mean, do you think a lion goes, should I eat this? Or is it going to help me survive? And I'm going to continue to advance.
Right. But I think, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I know it is.
Is combining all those things is where do we create our own folly of considering things too much. It's like the worrier. The worrier is worrying about something, but oftentimes the thing that the worrier is worrying about wouldn't come true.
I think that's where the metacognition comes in.
Right. But maybe the more you worry about something, the greater the percentage is of its possibility of coming true. So the fact that you were worried, the fact that you were so focused on it, almost makes it come true.
All I can think about is Genghis Khan right now.
I don't know much about Genghis Khan.
You should do a little research.
I feel interesting. I feel like I will.
10% of the world's population.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he was, but he open trade to China, right?
yeah. That's what they say.
Yeah, so they say. 2021.
Dude, let me ask you this question. Let me pull some let me reduce.
We're gonna reel this all the way back in like a fishing reel.
Bro, do you think there's any animal that is smarter than you?
No. Well, unless we consider ourselves animals.
Which, to an extent, I think we are.
Yeah.
Any other animal besides
species?
Yes.
No. At least not that we know of on this earth that we know of. So continue that.
I don't think I can until you pull this up.
No. This is different. No, this is a different conversation. But so why are you asking that question?
No, I guess I just wonder, I'm not trying to sound callous by saying why do we even consider these other thoughts, but as a propagation of a species that's healthy and doesn't go against the inherency of right and wrong, I guess what's the point of considering these things? As in, does this animal have feelings? Should we kill this animal?
I mean, that's exactly my argument as well.
I know.
We found ourselves I think, and this is kind of my argument to the ancient Egypt and UFOs and aliens and all these ridiculous things is, are we really as advanced as we think we are? Because it seems like if you really boil our conversation for the last, 15 minutes down, maybe we're just getting to the point where we're going, holy shit, we can think about things. And I mean that by the last couple thousand years. Because if you want to believe in the simulation or, and we're just in a program, or if you want to, believe that God created the earth 6,000 years ago, and that's where it all started, just boom, instantly, or whatever you want to believe. In the last couple, in the last 1,000 years, we continue to record things, and we have proof of our thoughts. We have records of our thoughts. That's really all it is. And especially with technology coming up and the things that we're able to do with technology. And I mean, how you look at, I'm not that old, but when I was born, I mean, TVs and like video games were like mind blowing. That was just starting. And the fact that you look at our technological advancements in the last, 60 years has just been, I mean, indescribable, like just crazy compared to the history. So, maybe we're just at the point of, we're just starting to realize our potential, but we get ourselves caught up in ridiculous fucking bullshit Facebook arguments.
But why?
You know what I mean?
Why?
Because
what if
it's like a fucking monkey with a toy. You go, well, this thing's fucking cool, and like
he's but what if that monkey put that toy down and two monkeys work together on creating another tool that advances society?
Yeah, but they don't know how to do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's called shut the fuck up and work together. It's not rocket science, monkeys.
Yeah, but to them it is. As he, that's what I'm saying is maybe
this monkey can work together. Why can't other monkeys work together?
To me, what the hell's going on here? I think if I had to put money on it, and if I had to make a wild bet, I would say that we are just beginning to realize our potential in what we are, and but at the same time, I think humans have always been at the beginning of realizing their potential, because when you realize that you are just at the beginning of your potential, then you're able to continue to learn and your potential increases. It's an exponential kind of thing. Like the more and more you realize that you are capable of something, the more and more you will achieve.
And the more limitless it becomes.
The more limitless. Yes, exactly. It's an exponential or parabolic or whatever the fucking right term is. I just don't see anything to prove that otherwise. So, point to segue that. So in the, why does this keep doing this? So in the COVID bill, I don't know if you saw this, the one that was just passed. We talked about this in the beginning, and I saved it.
Yeah, we get some funding for something that's very interesting, is what you're getting at.
I can't find a perfect story on this, but essentially in that COVID relief bill, that bill made it, a legal thing or whatever, that the Pentagon has 180 days to release what it knows about UFOs. Yeah, I don't
even know what that means.
I don't either.
180 days to release what they know about UFOs. Couldn't they just be like, yeah, we don't know shit about UFOs? It's called Area 51. We've been doing it since the fucking 40s or 50s or whenever it was.
Yeah, but that was put in the COVID relief bill, which goes back to the fuckery of the government. But
bro, I didn't know you were part of the government.
What do you mean, me?
Yeah, I figured you put that in there.
Oh no, no, I don't. No. So with the passing of aforementioned spending bill, which includes the Intelligence Authorization Act, a 180-day countdown has begun. Included as a committee comment in the Intelligence Authorization Act, the committee directs the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and the heads of such other agencies, to submit a report within 180 days of the date of the enactment of the act to Congress, Intelligence, and Armed Services Committees on UAPs, which is what they're calling them different things now.
Is it unidentified aerial projection or project or something? Or?
Where is it? Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Phenomena. There we go.
They always got to keep changing that. Why do they keep changing the words?
mean,
I don't know. But yeah, that was
keep them guessing.
That was in the relief bill as well.
Very odd.
Right? Why? Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing, people?
I don't know, Fredo.
I don't know, Tony. 2021. Here we come.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that was not at all what I expected our first podcast of 2021 to be. But I encourage everybody out there to, I don't know, chase your dreams and shit. I don't know.
I wouldn't even say that, man. I would say kind of what we're doing. I know. I laugh at that. Chase your dreams and shit he says. No, I would say kind of what we're doing with this podcast. Like, if you don't understand someone, ask questions. If you don't understand the questions, ask more questions. Approach everything with what I would call a hermeneutic of suspicion. Don't take it at face value. You don't have to be bitter about it, but question it. Question it. Like, I was taught to question everything. I feel like you were taught to question everything until we fully understand it. And if we don't understand it, then we continue to keep questioning it. Like, I believe that's a smart thing to do, is to continue to gather knowledge and ask questions. The other thing to do is to listen to people. Absolutely listen to them. Like, when you and me talk, if you don't understand me, you're like, Tony, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, here's what I'm talking about. And if you still don't understand it, you're like, well, I don't understand that. Can you explain more? Same with you. I'm like, Fred, I don't know what this, 2 paragraphs of nonsense means right here. Please explain yourself.
And then I end up reducing it down to one sentence. You're like, oh.
And then you explain yourself. And so that's where the disconnect comes. But I think in order to unite, I think in order to understand each other, I think in order to have a slight chance at bringing everything back together. God, I read a fantastic quote today, but I can't remember what it was. It was, God, what was it?
Remember who said it?
No, I don't, man. I don't even know if it gave credit to who it was, but it was something along the lines of if war starts because of lies, it was like then truth is achievable through questioning or something along those lines. That wasn't exactly it, but it was something along those lines. That, like, if lies can create something that's so terrible and heinous, that the truth can create something that's questionable, and we can get back to kind of loving on one another, to accepting one another. And so I think that's what my message is, man. I think that's what our entire message is through this podcast right here, is that, man, I don't agree with everything that you say, and you don't agree with everything that I say. You look at me and you're like, man, you're a fucktard. And I'm like, yeah, I am sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, man, I'm not, I'm going to listen to what you have to say. Like, as a brother, I still love you. Like, we still connect on some levels, and we're all human beings. So at some level, even if it's, there's just this minimal amount of minutia that we can connect on, like, we can still connect. Oh, we breathe the same air? Fantastic. Our circulation system is the same? There we go. There's still minimal elements that are the same. And all that we have to do is try and understand each other. It's try and relate to one another. I think when relatability goes out the window, that's when bad things happen. Yeah. I think when I look at you and you look at me, and we look the same, we've got the same, anatomical parts. We've got the same brain. We've got the same, almost the same genomic, makeup. And we can't recognize that. I think that's when bad things happen. But if we question what you say, I don't understand your ideas, Fred, but I'm going to ask you what they mean. Oh, Tony, you sound ridiculous right now. What do you mean?
Right.
I think that if we ask questions, then everything's going to be all right. And I believe that's truly why we created this podcast here.
Chronic
there's
curiosity.
Lots of people I don't agree with. There's times when you don't agree with me. You're like, fuck you, Tony. I don't agree with you. And I'm like, Fred, you sound insane right now. But guess what?
I also agree to
Guess
that.
what? Like, we're going to try and understand each other. And if we don't, and if at the end of the day, like, we don't understand each other, we don't agree with what the other one says, like, guess what? We're still human. Like, we tried. It doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean you hate me. Right. It means that we're unique and we're different. And I think that's what makes us, you know, an awesome species, is the fact that not every single one of us is the same. It's not automata across the board. We're not doing the exact same things. If it was, gee, many Christmas, this would be a boring life to live in. Like, you're different. I'm different. It's cool if we relate on some levels. It's also cool if we disagree on some levels, because that's what makes things interesting. But if we can sit down and we can have the conversations that you have and I have and we have with our guests, that's what makes us us.
Amen.
That's what makes us the planet of, you know, these monkeys that we live on. And I say that as me, as a monkey. Like, that's what's interesting, man. Like, that's what's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just sit down and have a conversation. Sit down and listen.
Yes.
And that's chronic curiosity at its core right there.
Be chronically curious, and allow others and give them space to do the same.
And smoke weed every day. I'm just joking.
We haven't even done that.
No, we haven't.
I think maybe that's what it is. You know, I think you said it really well, but it's giving the space to others to be curious. Golden rule, huh? Treat others as you would like to be treated.
Do unto others.
Yeah, I think I go beyond that, but yeah.
Yeah, but in a minimalistic approach, like, what if everyone did that? What if everyone considered how the other person felt, and they said, that's that's how I'm going to be treated. So I would treat someone how I would want to be treated.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Give each other the space in 2021 to be chronically curious. Amen.